I have used Epidemic Sound for over 6 years, and I guarantee that you're wasting time on the site. I'm about to share 5 huge tricks that have helped me speed up my workflow and find better songs for my videos. The first thing slowing a lot of people down is poor understanding of the search bar. Normally I find search bars kind of useless on sites like this, but Epidemic's is no ordinary search bar. It's powered by AI. That means instead of just searching song names or filter criteria, you can describe in your own language exactly the type of song you're looking for. Say I want music for a football montage. Or maybe instead of football, it's a ballet recital. You can even search up your favorite mainstream songs and use them as a reference track to find similar music from Epidemic's library. This is a much faster way to narrow down your options, but we can take it one step further. On the upper right of the menu bar, you'll see Epidemic Sound's Labs page. This is where they have a bunch of experimental features. Here we're gonna open up the Assistant. One quick note before I show you how powerful this is. The Assistant is probably gonna be moved to the main Epidemic Sound page sometime soon. So if you're watching this, a month or two from now, there's a good chance that Assistant doesn't live in Labs anymore, and it's just available somewhere else on the website, probably up by the search bar. The Assistant can do everything that the AI search bar can do, except it allows you to narrow your search in a conversational way, like if you're using ChatGPT or Gemini. I didn't like the first result it gave me, so I said, hey, hip hop works better for football. Now we're getting there, but it needs vocals. That's more like it. Assistant can help with sound design as well. You can say, I need music and sound effects for an epic cinematic video of my recent glacier hike in Iceland. And in just a few seconds, it's pulled together a collection of music and sound effects that fit my video. If you've already learned something new, hit a like. If not, let me show you something else. As editors, we're almost never using the full length of a song, right? Now you could spend 15 minutes cutting up a track in your editing software to make it match your timing, but Epidemic has a way to do this almost instantly. If you find a track that you like, but it's just not the perfect length, navigate over to this little scissor icon, which will open up their versions tool. Here you can choose from 3 popular lengths, 15, 30, and 60 seconds, or you can enter in a custom duration you want the track to run. This isn't just limited to shortening tracks either. This song is a little over 2 minutes long, but if I want it around 3 minutes and 15 seconds long instead, I can just put that in and the system will give me multiple different versions to choose from, each of which begins and ends like a complete song. DaVinci Resolve and Premiere Pro do have integrated AI music remixing softwares, but neither of them really work as well as I find Epidemic's does. Plus, Epidemic's can do 2 more things that those tools can't. First, it can make a track loopable, which is super helpful if you want a super long sound bed to something. Second, if there are parts of a song that you don't particularly like or parts that you want to emphasize, you can highlight those portions on the waveform and get a customized track that takes your preferences into account. Here's some versions of the song that avoid the part that I said for it to avoid and emphasize the parts that I wanted it to use. If you find that useful, then tip number 3 is about to blow your mind. There's a way to take any song on Epidemic Sound and transform it into the perfect track. This goes beyond just using stems and editing those up. You can actually change the mood and entire genre of the song. Just go back to Epidemic's Labs page and select Adapt. Here we can search for any track and import it into the tool. This song is very poppy. It almost sounds like Bruno Mars, and there's a rap middle verse to it. If we click Adapt Music, we can turn this pop song into folk or country style with a guitar and a banjo. Here's the adapted version. Listen to how great those instruments sound on their own. Now the vocals can come back in. Obviously, this is an extreme case, but look how useful this tool can actually be. This is an ambient synth track that I really like, but what if my client came back to me and said, synth doesn't really work for our brand. Can you do something more laid back with piano? Just import the track to Adapt, ask it for a change, and we have a new version that retains the same structure, but with an entirely new feel. That said, if I could only recommend one of these tricks to you, it would be number 5, which is use Epidemic's plugins. DaVinci Resolve Premiere Premiere Pro, and soon Final Cut all have an Epidemic sound integration that allows you to use almost all of Epidemic's features directly from your video editing software. I didn't think that this would make a huge difference at first, but boy was I wrong. Music is one thing. I mean, it's not like a huge deal to download 2 or 3 different tracks to put behind your video, but sound effects are a whole other animal. These used to really bog me down because I use dozens of different sound effects in each video. With the plugin, you can search Epidemic's entire library of sound effects and drag and drop each one directly onto your timeline. If you only want a portion of a sound, you can even just highlight that directly in the waveform in the extension and import that without having to do any manual trimming in your editing software. This has been an absolute game changer for me, and it has made Epidemic the only place I ever source sound effects from. To save even more time, I have a playlist that contains all of my frequently used sound effects, so all of my favorites are instantly available to drop into my timeline without having to manually download anything. I do have ways to speed up your editing that go beyond Epidemic sound though, and if you want to learn about those, you should watch this video right up over here. I think you'll really find it helpful.